Hey man, you also been stomping on Bill Street. So look, we're not gonna play no games. I'm gonna just jump right into the most recent news. So today they're in Berlin. John Morant and his teammate is that's Williams, right?
Yeah.
They get into what's initially called a heated argument, and the more I watched it, Ja's like, "Yo, I'm right here." Clearly, Williams said, "Look, we need to go somewhere and get 5 minutes with the hands," and Ja's like, "Why we got to go somewhere? I'm right here. We can do it right here." Man, what is going on with John Morant? And is this situation has it reached a critical point the way there's no turning back right now for John Morant?
Before they flew to Europe, I was posting and reporting. I thought there was a way they could mend the relationship with a all-in type of trade.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's over with. I think that's just finally over with. You don't do this in the 15 minutes that the media can actually go in there and shoot video. You don't do that right there. When you've had all day, you had a flight, you could have handled this. I mean, look at Auburn basketball. They went to the Final Four last year, and they had some handling it up on doing a plane. It leaked out, but there wasn't no video. Why are you doing this where there's video? And it's not just Memphis. If you'd have done this in the FedEx Forum because their practice facility is off to the side, there's only so many people going to practices. This is the European games. You knew there was going to be media from like 30 countries there. Somebody's going to hit record.
Oh man, and you could see the coach trying to like intervene. And first, Williams was like, "Yo, stay out of this."
Yep.
And when Williams leaves, it looks like the coach he don't know what to do. He's in an awkward spot. He daps up Ja. Like I like the way you handle that, Ja. Like he don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do because what if Ja starts following him down the hallway?
Right.
What does it say that didn't make it there? A bunch of people are going to read into that. Right. If your heart ain't in it, your heart ain't in it.
And the crazy thing is, you got to get back on the plane with this guy and go back to Memphis. We'll come back to America.
PJs make the hop across the pond too, especially if there's a trade in the next couple of days.
Oh, so
PJs hop across that pond pretty quick. Taylor Swift know all about it.
So that's an interesting segue. So you heard the rumors about Miami. The Kings have been reported to have some interest at varying degrees. Timberwolves, I think Timberwolves make a lot of sense personally. They don't necessarily have the assets, but it could be a point where almost like DeMarcus Cousins, almost like De'Aaron Fox, the way it's like, no, you just have to go. Like you gotta go. And I don't care what the return is necessarily, but you gotta go. And whereas Fox forced his way out of the situation, Anthony Davis kind of forced his way out of the situation. DeMarcus Cousins, they just told him, look, man, you got to get out of here. Trae Young, as we just saw, said, we got to get out of here. I'm sure this recent footage didn't do anything to help John Morant's trade value, which seemingly was already pretty low. Are there some teams we may not be considering, or do you think they just kicked the can to the offseason? He's been ruled out again. What do you think happens ultimately with this?
Well, you didn't mention the Nets, and I think they're a lot higher than people think because
very interesting.
They've got like 30 tradable picks, and a lot of those first-round picks, I mean, let's face it, they're the Nets. Everybody's going to expect them to kind of screw it up, whereas you hear folks saying the Celtics, for instance, none of their picks are going to be good. They're all going to be in the 20s no matter what, even if one of the All-Stars gets hurt. Look at it now. Brooklyn, though, is a team you didn't mention that I really think should be top 3, whereas some people are not even putting them top 5.
You know what? I agree because that Mikal Bridges trade is still paying dividends. Still paying dividends to this day. And if you're the Nets, it's like you're gonna be bad this year anyway. So you're netting, no pun intended, a top pick or like a early lottery pick, more likely than not.
Right. If they send MPJ out, Ja's not going to play them out of the lottery. He's not going to even play them out of the top 5, top 10, even if he wants to come back. Hey, let me get sorted. Let me get settled, get my team here because, he's going to find an apartment, get the social media team. He doesn't have an agent right now to help coordinate all that. The team's only going to be able to do so much by CBA bylaws. So he's going to miss a few games if he got traded there. That'd be a long enough time to make sure they had a top 5 pick and a top 5 draft. And next year, the offseason, they could do some other things because the Nets just have so many picks. I don't think they're going to want to stay bad that long, especially in that market. There's no other team, no other name they could really get to move the needle. I mean, he's got the best shoe in the world right now. You can't deny that, even if you want to hate on the shooting.
Right.
They've got enough assets that they could really turn this thing around. This is not the NFL where, say, the Pelicans kind of get rubbed off on the Saints and they don't want to rebuild because they think it takes so long.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the Suns rebuild in 4 months. It doesn't take 4 years like it does in NFL. The Nets can do this pretty quickly, and if they get sold on Morant, there's enough teams bidding that, Zach Kleiman started with the 2 first-round picks in a swap. You got to start that high because if you negotiate in the middle and start too low, you get nothing. He starts there. He's still going to get a pick, so he's going to get better than the Trae Young trade. He'll get a swap with the Nets, which next year, if the Grizzlies are rebuilding, that's an iffy gamble anyway. So the Nets can write that off. Give them another swap or a pick down the road. There's your deal.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, because I don't have the Nets salary cap in front of me, so you think that deal would have to involve MPJ and not pretty much a collection of stuff to get to that maybe that salary number? Well, and also the Nets have
because they make the same salary. They make about the same salary. It can happen straight up, or find another team, say the Warriors, who then send Kuminga, and you find a few spare parts. Okay. I mean, something like that can happen. There's so many different ways that can happen and get Ja out, but also get those Nets picks because it just makes a lot of sense. The Kings might say, we'll give you 1, but the Kings are going to be better than the Nets.
Yeah.
There's a few other teams that are saying, we'll give you the 1, but they're going to be a little bit better. Why not take that deal, especially when they're willing to throw a second in to say, we're New York. We now have the biggest star in New York. Man. Is Ja Morant a bigger star than Brunson?
He was on his way to being. I'll say he's
still young enough to sell those tickets.
Yeah, he's still young enough to pack the house, and I thought that now you would say he's probably become infamous, but that's the thing. Some people, nothing people enjoy more than a redemption arc and a redemption story, especially in sports. Ja Morant's a guy who suffered with injuries. I think if Ja Morant is playing, none of this is an issue.
Here's the thing. I think I feel safe saying this because I've been in the locker room and around him enough now that I think Ja Morant will do better in a bigger market because Ja Morant does better for himself when there's more eyeballs on him. Look at some of the trouble he got into the past with the IG and the waving stuff around. There was no attention on it. When he knows people's watching, he's a little bit more on his P's and Q's. That's kind of why I think this video, they didn't need to have the argument. Maybe it was who knows why it started and got to that point. But once it did, there's a bit of you got to ham it up. I know what I'm doing here. I finally got a lot more eyeballs on me. It just kind of the psychology of it all.
Basically.
Yeah, the psychology of it all just adds up so much. And I think he'd do great in Brooklyn as far as maybe not even Miami or Utah or wherever, Sacramento, wherever you could send him.
Hey, man, Portland. Memphis, they got a lot of classic historic wrestling in ring psychology that's going on there historically. So maybe Ja has borrowed a few tips from Jerry King Lawler and people like that. You know what I'm saying? Picking up a little because they used to have it in the arena. So maybe he's picked up a thing or two. But what do you make about the rumors of him not headed, but Miami having some interest in him? A report came out today that he allegedly purchased the house in Miami through the trust. Now, me personally, I don't make much news of that because who wouldn't want to live in Miami, right? So,
how many players don't have a house in Miami or Los Angeles?
Right.
I think Trey Murphy's got a spot in Miami. Giannis just bought a spot in Brooklyn. All that sort of stuff. You can't read too much into it. As far as Miami, there is interest there. From what I'm hearing, it's more like, hey, they took a gamble on the LeBron and all that big three. Then they took a gamble on Jimmy Butler and they made it to the finals. Even though Jimmy Butler wasn't quite kind of the shooter. He was a hothead. People didn't quite want to deal with him. It's the same sort of situation.
Same sort of situation. I'm glad
they believe they can fix him and do it again. The same thing they did with Jimmy Butler, but they get that kind of player at 26, not 36 or whatever Jimmy was when he got there. So that's an easy sell. They give him the extension in the offseason once they get to know each other. They can play that hardball Miami culture. We're not going to trade for you and give you an extension immediately, which I don't even think they could do. But you know what I'm saying? They'd wait it out. There's a reason.
Sure the Warriors have some buyer's remorse. Speaking of Jimmy Butler, I'm sure the Warriors have some buyer's remorse from doing that as well. Those immediate extensions.
I said that on WWL with Charlie Long, I think 2 days ago. That's one of the biggest bombshells I'm waiting for to happen is the Warriors who have no buyers for Kuminga to finally admit there's some buyer's remorse on Jimmy Butler, and they make a different kind of package, and maybe that gets you a Giannis. Maybe that gets you a Jaren Jackson Jr. Something like that. I'm waiting for the Warriors bombshell to drop where they finally admit we've got to cut bait. It didn't work out in the 2 years it was supposed to work out. It's not working out this year. There's no real move for them to make.
And let's do think about the Paul George acquisition the 76ers made as well. It's just these terrible contracts, man. Do you think Jimmy Butler choosing, like, he came out to say it, I'm not going to Memphis, right? Allegedly. With him choosing not to go to Memphis, do you think that was probably one of the final nails in the coffin for the Ja Morant tenure in Memphis, them not getting that all-star caliber wing to really go for it?
Maybe not in the Jimmy Butler situation specifically, but generally, yes. I think that's where a lot of the Ja Morant camp being just not satisfied with what they did. I thought maybe Ja Morant's camp, not saying Ja does, wanted Santi to be gone. They wanted to see something else come back in.
Right.
And like, I talked to Santi a lot because, like, my mom grew up on the Canary Islands 3 blocks from his mom's house. You know,
okay.
They don't know each other. That's way back when they was baby. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of talk about soccer and off the court stuff. But I thought Ja just wanted to see a BC, some of these other guys that he knew was going to be decent, but he thought they could be packaged together to get him a Jimmy Butler or a Laurie, something like that, even a Brandon Ingram. I think they wanted to be in for Brandon Ingram, but then the team really knew what they had in Jalen Wells and Cedric Coward and Santi. I think Santi right there with Ingram, for the money, it's tough. So but I think Ja wanted to see more proactive moves this offseason. He didn't get that. He didn't get the coach he wanted. The signs have been there.
Oh, man. You know, I kind of – it's almost like it's not comparable from the sense of a Giannis situation, right? Not comparable apples to apples, but it kind of gets to the point where the organization reaches, you know, a critical point. It was like, look, we ultimately have to do what's best for the organization for years from now. It's like, Ja, we understand what you want, but you're not playing. So let's say we go out here and we do what you would like for us to do. Let's say we go out here and we acquire this talent, we give them a massive contract, we get the coach you want, you know, and you're not there to hold up your end of the bargain. This is a quid pro quo relationship here, and you miss more games than your Carolina partner Zion, and that's hard to do. That's quite the feat, to be honest, man. So let me ask you this, right? So what do you think the Pelicans' interest in Ja Morant is, if any?
I do have him on my board. If I was looking at the 10, 12 teams that I've heard at least more than once talking to different execs, people you meet at Summer League, the Pelicans are in there. Of course, it's gonna cost you a Herb Jones, no doubt, just as a salary ballast and somebody to get you there. Look at what else you're gonna have to give up. Jordan Poole gets you there, but how many picks are you willing to give up after being railed for not using your picks right by pretty much everybody for the last, 6 months?
Yeah.
So that's why I think the Pelicans and Joe Dumars are really holding firm on the prices for Trey and Herb. I mean, one, look at the market. That's about right for, a Desmond Bane package for Trey or 2 picks for Herb.
It makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. So if they come with the right package, it could happen. I just don't put it in my top 3, top 5 like I would the Nets.
Look, my bad. One last thing. Is Ja on the Memphis Grizzlies post-trade deadline? Is Ja Morant with the Memphis Grizzlies post-trade deadline?
Ja's moved. Ja may be moved before they fly back from Europe.
Oh, my God.
But I definitely think he's gone by the trade deadline. We've reached that point. And that's changed I had different reporting 48 hours ago. I thought they could mend the fence.
Right.
But you get to different leaked videos and other things coming out since the video, and you send in the text. It sounds like the divorce is done. It's just, how he's splitting assets here.
Right.